we're live.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Welcome to the Universal Amphitheater. Here it is, late 1970s, going on 1984. You know, so much music here today is pre-programmed electronic disco. We never get a chance to hear Master Wisdom practice and craft anymore.
Thank you. Mike. Thank you, Pills. I'd like to start a meeting. I'd like to introduce our president, Mr. Vince Bullinger. Come in and
Marvin. Trying a new thing a little bit here today, so I turned the agenda into a presentation. So sorry, how it's going to work. All right. If you could all rise and help me in honoring our flag and reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Our today's timer is John. John, do you have an opening invocation for us?
I do, Mr. President. It is not what you know that gets you into trouble. It's what you think you know that isn't so.
May I be seated? We have our returning guest, Chris. Thank you for showing up for a third time, I believe. And he has indicated that he'd be interested in the speechcraft, so we'll try to get that ball rolling. All right, so do we have any meetings from minutes from last week? If not, move on. Right, is there any old business that anybody would like to bring up? Actually, I don't know. And I don't really feel like talking about it right now. I feel like kind of addressing the flag. One thing I wanted to do was at least make it a little bit more honorable than a little thing on the post of my hands over there. People might not even be able to see. No offense to whoever. But anyway, new business. Let's see. Wanted to look at.
Point of order, there is
Yes.
no such thing as old business.
No such thing as old business.
Correct. There's business there are motions that have been floored that would be brought back to the floor, but there is no such thing as old business.
All right. I will conduct Robert's Rules of Order and make sure that we get the exact proper terminology. Thank you.
Is there meandering and wandering and miscellaneous commentary about life? Yes.
Especially with you, right? All right. So, announcements. I turned the agenda into a presentation. I'd like some feedback if anybody thinks it's a good thing, bad thing, and want to change it or remember, just so that it's a little bit more, we have something going on a little bit more than just sitting here with the schedule, right? And also, it's a little bit more accurate than this out-of-date thing that has spelling errors and arrows pointing to move things around. So hopefully it's a little bit better. All right, so another announcement, we have the anniversary party next week. So if you haven't been in the know, we're going to be having a party for we're inviting all the past members, but anybody who would be interested in maybe checking out TechMasters as well. So please proselytize the event. We have a kind of a rough outline of what it is that we're talking about, but we'll try to finalize it a little bit better and have everything ready to go next week. And what I sent an email out just a little while before the meeting, and I really would like everyone, I underlined it, italicized and bolded it, everyone, which means you as well, to please respond to that real quick. Not Monday night. I don't want 8 responses on Monday night and then figure out what the heck I'm supposed to do. To tell me your success story. What has TechMasters brought to you? How does it help you? That kind of thing. So we can kind of bring that up and include that in this presentation. Okay, thanks. Like I've been mentioning for the last couple of weeks, if we get 5 people by the end of the month, we'll get these award, which gives us a gift certificate to the store and a discount and kudos and all that. It looks like we're up to 3, so we need 2 more. So let's keep pushing, right? And if you remember our old pal Dale Lotz, he has a meetup called Lean Startup, and they have a meeting next Tuesday at 3 o'clock. I think that's I can't remember the topic name, but it's a lot of the people at our group are kind of entrepreneurial. So if you're interested in that, please take a look. And then, of course, Speechcraft. It begins October 6th. Going to last for 8 weeks. So what I really want for between here and now is to proselytize the event as much as possible. I printed out 10 of these flyers. I bought really nice paper, so really pretty. And if you think that you have a good location for posting it, please come and get one from me. And if you can think of one for me to go drive over and deposit it, please let me know as well. All right? Does anybody else have any announcements? Leah?
Everyone should like your post to get more publicity.
Yes. So there's an Evite. We have 19 responses, and I think everyone here has responded. But if you haven't, please do so. And I put a LinkedIn post about Speechcraft and pointed to the flyer and a bunch of other things. I made a sign-up page on our site. If you go to our site, that's it. I can't remember. It's in there. But if you look at the links here, then you'll find it. So there's actually a sign-up page for it. So you can. It's a good way to get people into the system right away. I get sent an email like who signed up and your email address and stuff. All right. Anything else? Any other announcements anybody has? Chris?
Point of information.
Yes.
Good location for those posts. You might try the computer science board and the main hall at Normandale College. They do get a lot of young students coming to our data.
So that's a good idea. Thank you. All right. Any other announcements? Before we move on? Okay. Today's Toastmaster. All right. So today's Toastmaster, just get right back out there so I can find out who it is. Today's Toastmaster is Alice. Alice has been I know it isn't. That would be January 6th. Oh,
Are you ready now?
Oops.
Called impromptu.
Oh, yeah. All right. Well, I thought it was me. Send me an email. I responded to it and everything. So Mike, of course, was our founding member, and he's been a strong leader in our club for a very long time. He's brought a lot of energy, a lot of effort, and a lot of skills to our meeting. And if you could give me a good, strong, warm welcome to my bench.
Thank you, Vince, and welcome Toastmasters. We having fun yet today? Well, what better way to do, get some energy going except for having a joke. So let's start this off, our meeting with a little bit of levity with our court jester, Vince Bollinger.
Man. All right, great. So I meant to have the graphic pulled up, but I had too many things going on. So I will just tell you, there was, if you haven't noticed, there has been a strong decrease in violence and murders. A lot of times you look at the news and you say, wait, that doesn't seem true. But trust me, it is. The violence has decreased quite dramatically in the last 20 or 30 years, and murders have gone down precipitously in the last 10 or 12 decades. And I was looking at this graph, and it showed an exact correlation between the murder rate and the adoption rate of Internet Explorer, which makes perfect sense. Mr. Toastmaster.
Yeah, my daughter was talking about the hipster who burnt their mouth drinking the coffee because they wanted to drink it before it was cool. All right, our 1 minute, our indicated timer today is Jonathan Ullman. John, you want to just kind of give us an overview of what you're going to be doing and looking for today? And
during these speeches, during the 1 minute discussions, I'll be timing everyone 1 minute, 1.5 minutes, and 2 minute intervals. So at 1 minute, you'll be getting the green card, 1.5 minutes, you'll be in yellow, and at 2 minutes, you'll be in red. For speeches, it'll be 5, 6, and 7 minutes.
And I did happen to notice that we seem to be short on a speaker or speakers. We had Nick and Tony both scheduled. So instead of one open slot, we actually have 2 open slots at this point. And I know that there are people who will just either volunteer or be appointed to be volunteers. And I believe there's even a manual called impromptu speech that you get called on to go do. So if you're not thinking about it and the break comes and someone looks at you and says, you know what, I think it's about time to stand up and do an impromptu speech, I would look for people to volunteer for this. Leah.
I know you're looking.
Mohammed. So if you could please prepare some notes for at least something, because we will have some sort of a longer meeting than just doing table topics today. Otherwise, we could just have some fun. I do want us to be thinking about things that you could do that would be great. Those wonderful things that might even someday get you to the Guinness Book of World Records. When I asked our grammarian, what will you be known for getting into the Guinness Book of World Records? It was interesting. He came back. He has the ability to dilate his eyes on command, just by sheer will. All of a sudden, whammo! And it's like, I can't wait to see this. I want you to welcome our grammarian today to help us understand what we should be looking for. Wild Bill Austin, bring him on up.
Thank you, Mike. Today, my role is grammarian. First of all, I'll be introducing you to the word of the day. I'll be asking for you to use it during your table topics as well as your speeches if you can. I'll also be using the bell, which is a signal of love. I'll be dinging you on crutch words such as ah, so's a big one. So first of all, let's kick off. I said so ding it. Let's start with our word of the day, modicum. The definition is a small portion or a limited quantity. An example of this word would be, if you possessed a modicum of common sense, you would not have pushed for an entire rewrite of our project. Modicum. Thank you.
Thank you, William. And now we'll move into a little bit of an educational moment where we can glean some nugget of truth. And really someone who is a .NET, but he's also the stand-up Mr. Entertainment himself, the David Letterman of .NET. Let's welcome our one-minute Toastmaster, Alex Kamushka.
Thank you, Mike. Let me start my timer. So today I would like to talk about one thing that we have here in our lecture, and all of us come here to improve ourselves as much as we can, at least a modicum of speaking, listening, providing feedback. And every speaker here really cherishes it. Somebody will tell him something that really helps next time to be more attractive for audience, more informative. So that's why we have this individual evaluation forum. Speakers who come here know we have assigned evaluators, but also you can tell all audience and give this form, grab them from lecture and distribute them. So this form can help provide just free style of evaluation. And this way you will provide very valuable feedback to speaker that may never be provided to him whole life during many speeches. And that's the key here, evaluation and honest and helpful evaluation. Thank you.
Point of information is for one in the Toastmaster. Where do we keep those forms?
In lecture we had them, but okay, we are here. Luckily you forgot one of them over there.
All right. Well, thank you, Alex. And good thing to keep in mind that we're always learning, always coming back. Jesse, welcome back to TechMasters. We'll now move into one of my more favorite parts of TechMasters, and it's one of my more favorite parts because it's one of those things where you have to be able to go out and really go the distance, where you get called on to do something spur of the moment, like carry children up sand dunes that are kind of out in the middle of Michigan somewhere. Our table topic master happens to be an expert at this, and really when I talked to him, and he said, don't call me Vince, he said, call me Vamp Blackbeard, because that is my CD handle. Let's welcome for table topics, Vince.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Yep, and if you recall from my humor speech contest, which by the way, very fortunately, thankfully, I did not win the area humor speech contest, so I do not have to. When I told Brett, he was the judge there, I said, the further I go, the more embarrassing and humiliating my defeat will be. So I was happy to say that there was a very good speaker who did defeat me, so I will not have to waste another Thursday night not making people laugh very much. But I did recount in that my tale of climbing up some sand dunes in Michigan with one kid and then climbing down 2 kids, which was not fun. All right, so thank you very much, So it was a little bit of an impromptu tabletop session, but I thought of an idea of basically I'm going to ask you questions about your favorite movie of all time or your least favorite movie of all time. So let's see here. So we've got a speaker and Tony here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think I'm just going to go ahead. Chris, do you think you want to? I'll give you a softball. You want to?
Sure.
All right, great. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, great, perfect. That's the exact number of questions that I want. How about this side of the room here? And Chris, I want you to think of your favorite movie of all time. Just think of it. Think of your favorite movie of all time. And everybody on this side of the room, except for Chris, I want you to think of your least favorite movie of all time, the one you hated the most. Okay? Get it? Got it? Awesome. So first, I will start with Alex. Alex, the least favorite movie of all time, right? Tell me why you didn't like it.
Thank you, Mr. Tabletop TechMasters, fellow TechMasters. I do not have my least favorite movie because as time goes, opinion changes, and I don't want to really tell anything about what I don't like because maybe in the future I would like. But I have several movies that I like, and I will tell why I like them. I like movies that you can watch second time, and in the end of it, you don't feel like you were defrauded because during movie stuff changes, so it does not have logical connection. It does not make sense at all, and you feel like somebody really cheated on you during this scenario flow. So what my favorite movies, what I would recommend you to watch. For example, one of them is Life or something like it. This is with Angelina Jolie in main role, where she is successful anchor, and during course of event, there is like stuff, homeless guy forecasted her life may end soon, and she start rethinking why it's going on and what she is doing. And this movie can be watched several times, and it's romantic, there is a drama, there is a suspense, and it's overall very nice lesson for life. Another movie that I still like, I would like to tell you to watch, is Intolerable Cruelty. It's a very fun comedy about a Los Angeles lawyer and what may happen in your life with a very twisted style, and it's very funny, and also you can watch it many times because scenario, nobody's cheating on you, nobody's changing, nobody pulling rug from you. It's very funny movie and lots of life experience. Thank you.
All right, Chris, we're talking about our favorite movie, right? I want you to tell me what you liked about this favorite movie, what it is and what you like about it.
Thank you, Mr. Tabletop Master. Thank you. In response to your question of what was my favorite movie and why did I like it, the thing about a movie is that it must give you a real sense of visceral tension. There must be some question in the story. And I will give you the example of Silence of the Lambs as a great horror film. Most horror films, in fact, with that exception, none ever offer me any true sense of fear. And yet, Silence of the Lambs, when I walked out, left me viscerally inside, tied up in knots, with the wonderful image of Hannibal Lecter turning to Clarice Starling and telling her the story of when he ate the liver of the postman. And as a funny note, for years, Hannibal Lecter tells Clarice that he ate his liver with some fava beans and a nice Chianti. Well, I misheard him, and for years I thought he said a Chianti, and went around looking for many years looking for a tea called Chianti. Thank you very much.
All right, Mohammed, do you have a movie that you hate most of all? Yes or no?
No.
Dang it. Do you have a movie you really hate or dislike?
I can't think of any.
It's the last bad movie you saw.
I think it was like, what was it, Avengers, Age of Ultron, or any of the new Transformers.
So, the Age of Ultron, right? You didn't like it.
I didn't like that.
All right. Well, that's interesting because I'm really excited to see that one. Why don't you talk me out of it?
Well, Thank you, Mr. David Hawkins, Master, fellow TechMasters. Ultron, or sorry, Avengers: The Age of Ultron is a great movie to watch.
You're trying to talk me out of it.
I know, I'm getting there.
Yeah.
But just as you watch any action movie, it's got a little bit of excitement, a little bit of drama. It's got a lot of action, a lot of explosions, a lot of great sequences, and you can kind of imagine how they did all the special effects. But what happens with a lot of these movies is they start beautifully. Every first movie is beautiful because they start with the intent, content, and delivery, and it's consistent. But as you go on through the different sequences or the different sequels, you realize that there's kind of the only intent they have is to make money, and the content is kind of lacking, and the delivery is all about action. So if you're into a movie that's going to give you a lot of action, a lot of explosions, a lot of special effects, maybe further the story of Avengers a little bit, but not really, it might be for you. But if you want to watch something that's mindless, I'd say watch Hot Tub Time Machine. Go in there with a blank mind that this movie's gonna suck, and you're gonna come out on top, man. Mr.
Thank you, Mohammed. Mike, do you have a favorite movie of all time?
Could be.
Could be. Could you tell me what it is?
Maybe in my answer. So
Well, basically, knowing you, I'm assuming that I'm not going to like that movie. So what I want you to do is convince me to go see it.
So I'm going to convince you to go see what I consider to be one of the greatest movies of all time.
Because I think it looks terrible.
Because you think it looks terrible. And to be honest, it depends on the age of the person and where you're at in life and kind of those things. Because when you started saying favorite movies and least favorite movies, I was like, well, when I was in high school, I really liked DC Cat. You remember the show with Mr. T and Nick Nolte and all of that stuff going on? And then you got to the Blues Brothers, which is another classic show. I mean, you got Belushi, you have Aykroyd. And of course, you've got the Ghostbusters, and then you've got the About Last Night, which I don't know how many people remember About Last Night with Demi Moore when she and what's his name, Rob Lowe, are fresh out of college or fresh in the workforce, and they're trying to find their way. But I think if you're to look for the best movie of all time, one of my favorites is My Cousin Vinny. And what My Cousin Vinny does is it's got some great humor that just leads up to the entire story, where it's just you're sitting there on the edge of your seat, just the misdirections and all of the fun that they have, the whole thing with the going out for breakfast and trying, I think I'll take the breakfast, which are the grits, and then the trial, and then you've got the Herman Munster as the judge, and he's asking about those two Utes, and you really wonder, what are you talking about here? And it's like when I go out and I see My Cousin Vinny, I think as a mature adult and as someone who has children and things like that, I probably wouldn't take them to see DC Cat. I would take them instead to see My Cousin Vinny. And it's a modicum of humor that just really got enjoyed.
I was hoping we were going to get a modicum of usage of the word today. All right, Jonathan. Let's see. So I asked you. Okay, yes. Do you have a least favorite movie of all time?
I'm not sure I have a least favorite movie of all time, but I can think of one that maybe I didn't appreciate so much.
All right, great. Which one is it?
The movie that I first thought of when it came to movies that I didn't like, and this is going to be difficult to talk about a movie that I don't like, being that I've watched it the one time and haven't seen it since, would be Napoleon Dynamite.
Oh, well, convince me to see that one. I know you hated it, so convince me to see it.
Convince you to see it. I mean, before I even saw the movie, I had so many friends who had seen it time and time and time and time and time again that they would quote lines from it. And none of them really made a whole lot of sense. I'm sure they were very context specific. So I didn't really understand why these lines were so funny. And after watching the movie, I still wasn't sure why they were so funny. the awkwardness of the main characters, the small town life. Maybe it's just because I couldn't relate to it as well as perhaps say others who maybe grew up in such a context. But for me, the problem that I had with it was that it just really wasn't that funny. The awkward humor, the awkward moment type of humor, it's just never really fits me. Thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan. I noticed you have coffee there. You could totally get away with putting 2% in there. Setting over something creamy if you wanted to. Clea. So you have a movie, let's see, I forgot. This is the good set, right? Okay. Do you have a favorite movie of all time?
Thank you, Mr. Tabletop.
Oh, that's not even your question. That's just
Okay.
it.
So you're asking
Don't
me questions.
interrupt the speaker.
Is that my question?
What am I typing here?
Do you have it? You can, I'll tell you, I'll point to you. So,
Redo.
so do you have a favorite movie of all time?
No.
Do you have a movie that you've really liked recently?
I like I like the director.
Director, that's the name of the movie.
No, I like a director.
Oh, a director.
So
Okay. Like I said, actually, I want you to convince me never to see that director's movies ever again.
many of you are familiar with Woody Allen. He has a interesting life, to say the least. He married his stepdaughter. She's at least 20 years younger than him. And most of his movies involve a muse. So over his large movie career, his muses have consisted of Diane Keaton. He did probably 3 or 4 movies with her. Scarlett Johansson, he loved her. And most recently, Salma Hayek. So of Woody Allen's movies, I would say you have to understand that he has a weird social life, marrying his stepdaughter, and then he has an obsession with his leading ladies. So if you take that into account, it's hard to really comprehend his movies and acknowledge them in a way that you want to watch them all 20 years of his legacy. Thank you.
Convincing case. William,
Yes, sir.
do you have a least favorite movie of all time?
Yes, I believe I have a movie that could be qualified as my least favorite movie.
Okay. What is it, first and foremost?
I do not remember the title.
Okay, well, you've been tasked with writing the remake. What do you change?
Thank you, Mr. Tabletop Master. The movie that I'm referring to, I do not remember the title. However, it starred Peter Weller, who was the original RoboCop, and that was a movie that I enjoyed. However, this movie portrayed Peter Weller as an exterminator, I believe, and at night he would type on his typewriter, and the bugs that he would be trying to kill during the day would appear on his typewriter, and I think he got high off of this exterminator powder or something. This is the movie. So if I were to rewrite this movie, I would do it in such a way that I've seen Ant-Man portrayed. Maybe more from the bug's point of view rather than Peter Weller's point of view sitting at his typewriter. However, if you really want your mind just blown away, if you want to sit in front of the TV and say, am I in the Twilight Zone or is this still reality? Watch this crazy movie with Peter Weller as an exterminator. I do not remember the name of it, but he's only done a handful of movies. That's what I would do if I were to redo the Peter Weller bug movie, is I would portray it from the bug's point of view rather than Peter Weller's crazy whacked out bug inhaling point of view. If they had a modicum of common sense, they would have done that movie in such a way. Thank you.
Thank you. Last but not least, Jesse. Do you have a favorite movie of all time?
Not a favorite. However, I have a couple favorite. Like other people were saying, there's a lot of genres. There's a lot of there's comedy, there's action, there's so on and so forth.
So name first one really good movie that comes up to your mind.
Matrix.
The Matrix.
The Matrix. Yeah.
All right, you have been tasked with making a remake of it, but it has to be a comedy starring Adam Sandler. Go.
Oh, brother. Unbelievable. get ready. With Adam Sandler, let's see. You know, I can't do that. However, I will say that Adam Sandler, you know, kind of growing up with that class of actors. Tommy Boy is another movie that I really, really liked. You can go in there and, like you're saying, blank mind. You can go in there with a blank mind and just love two characters that really kind of are at odds and really funny together. So I love Tommy Boy, love Matrix, love a lot of movies in different genres. So that's all I have. Thank you.
All right, with that, I'll turn it back over to the Toastmaster.
Thank you, guys. So at this point, we're going to take a quick break. We've got a speaker, Tony, and our general evaluator, Mohammed, and our evaluator, Clea. If you could come up.
Look, they cut it down. My feet, you locked it?
Yeah.
Let's see. Welcome back, buddy.
I don't
you doing?
something, but I don't.
Do you want to do it? You sure? Because we do have another.
The tail end there, I was like,
Okay, I'll do it.
There's two speakers.
We need one more evaluator, please.
Alex.
Alex. Where's Alex?
Alex is an evaluator. He's on schedule. We need one other volunteer evaluator.
He's getting one.
Okay.
Jesse,
I mean, he's fine.
you're gonna be an evaluator.
yeah, I can be another.
Okay.
Come on, man.
So, you are the GP. So, set assign speaking order.
I'd like to go second.
Okay.
There
That's
you
it.
go.
Sorry.
I just need a title.
You're first.
So, do you have a title?
Surviving the future.
Survival in the future.
Oh, wow.
News
there,
Yeah, I used you operator.
No, she's speaking.
Yeah, I'm speaking.
She's speaking.
She's speaking.
And Tony is speaking.
You are going to be the evaluator and Jesse's the evaluator.
So Alex evaluates.
Alex has evaluated me in all my speeches.
Okay,
Not
so-
just a bad thing, but we just.
Sorry. Because it's healthy.
Oh, it sounds good. I'm pretty harsh though.
Manual?
Crowdfunding?
No.
No, okay, I will use
I didn't
this
do
one.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the start.
This
Title
one,
Surviving the Future.
Yeah, so I have.
anything else?
Well, you know,
Back
you
here
were
and
eyeballing
you
me
need
from the time, and I felt pressure.
Do I need anything or no?
You can get coffee. Yes, you can grab a.
Is there evaluation?
There's an evaluation form right there.
This one,
You know, I had a win for.
Enterprise.
Means,
Start week event, like, huge job touring with people. I love asking questions, I was nervous.
well, we're trying to
No,
drive.
I
We should have.
Techmasters for
We're trying to meet
I can't stand up
bi-monthly.
and ask a question in front of the room.
We're
Then I'm-
having.
So I did.
You stood up, yes.
Yeah.
So,
It was so
why
smart.
are we here?
Yeah.
If you're interested in architecture,
When is this stuff?
software, and business architecture, in general,
Yeah, no.
Mac conference, November 12th.
Do we have anyone that's going to be good speaking?
Yeah. What's next? When is the food served?
Midwest
I
architecture.
have an evaluation.
Yeah.
You're asking those hard questions. Where's the restroom?
Yeah.
Okay.
Besides that.
Back there, back there.
Yeah, you don't get too much.
We're not here every time.
Okay, so it must be bigger than, okay, don't worry about it, start your stuff.
Alex, no offense, right? You know,
Yes,
because you have, it's, no, I like your
it
evaluation.
was coincidence, yes.
We're like, the rest of the week, and see what the guys
You manage to alternate with Sarah. You come, she's gone, she says I will come next time, and they come back, she's gone, but she
I've
promised
never
to
met
join,
her.
yes. I think once we were together at meeting, like,
Yeah.
first time it was, yes, okay.
Printed these out.
Ah, I got you. Awesome. Or something fixing.
Let's see if it'll not behave. Switch.
Oh. HDMI, yeah, this one.
Okay, will it do it? Will it find it this time? No.
You did not.
Okay. So it's gonna do it this way. Your friend, it's your first time.
Dude, don't believe
More favors.
Did it sound like first time? First time?
First time back.
Display size.
This is announcing.
Sure. Okay. And you guys are, make sure you guys have it.
700. That's what we're gonna need.
You guys work. You guys wanna come through? I'm going to. Alright, fellow TechMasters. And now we move into what is, I think, perhaps the reason why a lot of people go out and join TechMasters. Because we've heard this idea that we need to be able to stand up and give prepared speeches and give the opportunity to learn one of those great things to go out and do. And our first speaker today is a Toastmaster who joined us a couple of years ago, came in and really has embraced the entire idea of education, learning, going through the manuals, doing all the different things that we can do. But he's also a forward-looking kind of guy. As an architect, I've seen him at a lot of different events. He's always driving a lot of great new ideas and new concepts about how things can be done better. And I think you're going to really enjoy today's talk. And it kind of brings me back to the future, kind of the McFly moment where I'm thinking, you know, what was McFly's first name? Marty. So I'm like, our Marty McFly, who, if he was on the CB radio, would be talking, you know, okay, this would be Doc, and, you know, it's the whole thing. Let's welcome our first speaker, talking about surviving the future. Let's welcome Tony Burstead.
Good morning. I've been, over the years, I've been shifting my focus a little bit more from the pure developer thing, because that's always been cool and a challenge, to getting into a little bit of the business thing. And I've started reading things like Harvard Business Review and learning stuff about business. And this is really talking about an article that came up, some of the ideas in an article that came out in the last issue. The article is called The Future and How to Survive It. And I'd recommend that everybody take a look at it, because it really does apply to us. Even though it's not a technical developer thing, this is something that we all may want to think about. First, they talk a little bit about what was great, starting in the 80s and coming into today, especially in countries like the US and Europe. We were really profitable. Profits kept going up. Business profits overall have been growing faster in the last few years than historically. So it's been a great time, but they're saying it's going to slow down. And why? But they go into a couple of reasons why profits went up. Things like increased scale. You know, as you scale up the size of what you're dealing with, you're able to do things for less. The globalization, going into new markets, has helped. Falling costs. Well, if I can shift my costs overseas, in many cases, companies have moved manufacturing overseas, they save money. Well, but there's a challenging future ahead. Things aren't quite so good. For one thing, some of the cost cutting has bottomed out. The wages in places like China, India, and a lot of the third world countries that we depended on for cheap labor, they're going up. Speaking of the third world, they have a number of wonderful graphics in this article talking about how the marketplace has shifted from maybe 5% of the market being third world to, it's close to 25% coming out of the third world. The internet and all of what the technology has done. Look at what technology has done to a lot of well-known companies from historically. Technology is disrupting things. So the first thing that they come back with some things about what should you do as a company and probably as an individual to survive in this market, in this new market that we're facing. We're probably going to have to deal with a little lesser profit because things are going to stabilize a little bit. Well, the first thing that they suggest, and this is right on the cover, was be paranoid. You need to think differently. Half of the world GDP growth over the next decade, and many of the new competitors will come from cities in the emerging world. Small cities. They list a couple small names that people will probably, I doubt anybody in this room would be able to put them on a map. I certainly couldn't. I didn't even know what country they belonged to. But these are up and coming places that competition's coming from. Another thing they say, seek out patient capital. If you work in a company like mine, and a lot of public companies, the focus is in how much revenue can we get today? We need you to get that revenue number up immediately. And they don't sit back and take a longer term view. This is where some of the companies, like that has made companies like Apple and Google and a number of other companies a lot of money because they're starting to take a little bit of a longer term view and they're in the game for the long haul. We can't think about, this is a marathon we're running, not a sprint, not the 100-yard dash. We're running a marathon. We have to be thinking out 5, 10, 15 years and aiming our strategies towards that and aim our capital, expect our revenue. We have to invest for the long term. We have to radically disrupt ourselves. Technology is disrupting us. And I couldn't help but throw in a slide from one of my other favorite things about digital disruption. There's more people willing to innovate and be in the market to disrupt you. They're able to do it for less. I can go out to Azure, Amazon, Rackspace, dozens of places, and I can set up a data center in minutes. And it's much more powerful what you can do today. The challenge of disruption is something we are all facing. You need to build new intellectual assets. Every company probably has been gathering data about their customers. you need to make use of it. We need to go to war for talent. If my company right now, we're struggling to find people. We're looking for some developers, and we bring people in, and a lot of developers just aren't quite up to snuff. But it's also trying to get enough people and being willing to pay them enough. That is a challenge to get and retain people. So in summary, be paranoid, disrupt yourself, go to war. We face a challenging future, but it's something that can be very rewarding if we want to. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony. Do you need the slides? I'm just gonna go ahead and turn that on. All right, so when we're thinking about disrupting the future, thinking about how the world is changing, you look at people who step up to the challenge and join a group like TechMasters. Our second speaker today has agreed to do a speech on pretty much spur of the moment, kind of an impromptu speech. In fact, if there was a manual, it would probably be that impromptu manual speech, because she is willing to go beyond, to stretch the limits. And since there's only one she in the room, I think you know that I'm talking about Clea. But Clea has been in TechMasters for about a year, and she is all excited about a lot of different things: the startup space, the crowdfunding, and getting into the next thing with the technology and with this whole business of what we're doing. So I look forward to hearing Clea talk about crowdfunding. Let's welcome our second speaker.
Oh, thank you. Yes, as many of you saw, as Mike was speaking earlier, he was calling for an impromptu speaker, and I basically got the hairy eyeball for 30 seconds. One time, a minute, a second time, and I said, okay, fine, let me start prepping for this. So here we go. Last week was Startup Week, which maybe some of you attended. It was mostly panels of people speaking at different venues, talking about how they succeeded, speaking about where they came from and their lessons. So one of the events that I attended was at VidCoo, which was 2 years ago, a startup that no one had heard of. I think it was started at the U of M, and right now they've expanded to a beautiful new office downtown Minneapolis, gutted this warehouse, turned it into a space that's half for events, tech events to speak and people to interact, and half to do their development. And they're growing like crazy. I've reached out to them to help with staffing. They don't need it. So they don't need help. They're doing great. And they brought together a great panel of people who wanted to speak about crowdfunding. So crowdfunding, if you don't know what it is, it's using the public to help you get money and publicity to launch a product. So this is anything from a movie. If you need funding to start a documentary, you can ask for crowdfunding. You can do it for a startup, you can do it for a product, whatever you want. Even if you want to start a group, you can go to crowdfunding for help. Two of the most popular ones are Kickstarter and Indie. So both of them use people to give a donation, and in return you get a little something, whether it's your name on their website or a product, or maybe you are the first person who gets this product. So you kind of are ahead of the curve, and you're giving your chance, taking a chance that you will fund something that will turn into the next big thing. So the panel speakers included Hydrate, which was the winner of Startup Week last week. It is a technology-based way to drink more water. Jamstick, which is a tiny device that allows you to play music. They have now been picked up by Apple. They're going to be on Amazon. They are expanding internationally. So this was a tiny startup 2 years ago. No one even heard of it. And now they're exploding. And they were started by doing crowdfunding. Particle and Smart Things, which is a way to make your home smarter. So a few things they spoke about, and it was a simple panel. People could tweet your questions. So very technology, tweet your questions and they'll be answered. The first thing I learned and absorbed was have a goal, know why you want to hit that goal, and present it to your crowd. So the first reason most people do crowdfunding is they need money, they need capital. This is a great way to, of course, get your name out there, get your funding, but at the same time it's also to see if your product is actually interesting to people, if people want that buy-in. So by doing crowdfunding, you'll be getting buy-in. It gets you noticed, sort of free publicity, and you automatically have people who are invested in your product. So that's the first thing you absorb. Something to note, just like when you're selling a house, if you don't hit your goal or you don't sell something in a certain amount of time, it turns into stale. It's old news, no one wants it, it's not hot anymore, it's not of interest. So if you have a goal, you want to hit 30% of that goal within the first day. So hot to the market, get your funding, move on. The second thing to note is it's okay to fail. Actually, a few of these startups didn't succeed the first time they did crowdfunding. They didn't get the investors, they didn't hit their goals. Basically, no one said it was a good idea. They went back to the drawing board, they revamped what they were working on, decided to explore different options, and then very bravely go back onto social media and the public eye and say, help me. And now they are succeeding. One of the ones that stood out was Particle. They did that. So in failing, allows you to revamp what you're working on in your tool, but it also allows you to network with people who can help you. So you meet people who can reevaluate what you're working on and then allow you to get back into the market and move on. So a few other tips. Don't overpromise. Some of the problems people face where they have a product, they give people 4 different options of colors and shapes and when they want it. And if you can't deliver, you have a lot of angry people. You have the backers who supported you before anything even existed, and then you're failing them. So keep that in mind as you launch something. And then most importantly, think what you want out of your crowdfunding. If you crowdfund, why are you doing it? Do you want publicity? Do you need money? Do you want buy-in? Why are you doing this? So as we all go out into the world and begin our crowdfunding adventures, think about why you want to do it. Take into account that it's okay to fail, and have a goal, because that's what's going to make you successful. Thank you.
Thank you, Claire. And now we'll move into the next phase of what TechMasters is all about, and that is getting some feedback on what it is that we want to be able to go out and do. And our general evaluator today, we were trading emails back and forth. I said, so what would be your CD handle? He said, well, it'd be mini pack. I'm not quite sure if that is like a political organization that is going to come out and crush other small people, or if it's a mega pack or a super pack. But he's going to take us into the next spot, which is going to be giving us some feedback. So we have about 15 minutes, so let's keep our eye on the watch and let's drive through and let's do a great job with our evaluations. Mohammed.
Yes, mini pack was for, I know it's kind of hard. For Pedro, come on.
You use bolder pen so everybody can see.
Yeah, I should.
Who's in hell?
Let's see. Mini pack came from when I owned a Mini Cooper. So while our speeches are still in our minds, and why don't we conduct the voting for best speaker? We had Tony with Surviving the Future and Clea with crowdfunding. So all of those, if you could bow your head, all those things. Tony was the better speaker. Please raise your hand. All right, thank you. And those who think Clea was the better speaker, please raise your hand. Thank you. Now I'll call for evaluations. Alex, if you could stand up and evaluate Tony, that would be great.
Thank you, Mr. General Moderator. Tony, thank you for your speech. This was exactly that speech that gave me some wisdom. That's why I've been asking success stories. That's why I come to TechMasters. Come and learn something. And this is part of it. Content is part of speech and very valuable. So number one, what I see, what I like about your speech, besides content, is your voice significantly improved with 2 years comparison of yourself. Yes, it's a volume, variety, pace, and poise. Before, and sometimes happens now, I want to fall asleep when you're talking, but not this time. Was very energetic, with always passion, and it was number one. And I'm very happy to tell you, and I'm very happy to hear it. Number two, again, content and how fluent was from the beginning, intro to body and to conclusion. Yes, we want to have all distinct stuff, but it's also we want it kind of moving smoothly. It does not kind of distract you, and that was very good. Now, what was improvement? What my suggestion is, it does not matter what kind of notes you have. Is it paperback, old-fashioned, or electronic device? Still, when you look at it, I think more than 5 seconds, it's a big hit on audience because I'm just reading from here and I essentially lost you. So this is electronic device is very helpful, clicker stuff, but somehow to minimize eye distractions, that anybody who even looking at their own devices look at you and you are not looking at them, and we look again and you're still not looking at them. So this audience kind of, how to say, falls away from it. What else? So by the way, I'm using free evaluation form because Tony doesn't have manual. So next time, please do manual if you can, but good, please use evaluation speech. What else? On other thing was very good overall speech. I enjoyed it, and it's just distraction with notes, and you will be one notch up, one every time little bit up, and it will be great. Thank you.
Evaluate Theo. Jesse, if you could please stand up and give your evaluation.
Alright, so I went all over the place here, so sorry it's not good and then bad. No, it's good and bad, section. So
You're never supposed to start out by apologizing.
all right.
That's just correct.
Evaluate.
Yes.
Evaluate.
Keep your hand up that problem. You had a really good use of hands. It seemed like your feet were planted and you stayed in one position. You might want to try walking around. It might feel comfortable, might not. Not sure. Hairy eyeball, great usage of words. Mind picture. About every third sentence you did like a kind of a thing, which I do that as well, and until people tell me that, I totally forget about it, so it might be a good thing to pay attention to. Your voice, you went up and down, which is great. You might try doing a wake the audience, like, kind of a thing. I know he's done something like that as well. Just something that kind of, go beyond the up and down, but honestly, your variance was great. You were very personal. See, I just did that. Anyways, you were very personal. When you were talking to us, I felt like you were talking to me, and your facial reaction was very personal, which is great. Was it interesting to me? Yes. I love this topic. I absolutely love this topic. So I might be the wrong person to ask on this, but I was very interested. So thank you.
All right, well, the evaluations are still fresh in our minds. If you could all bow your head. And those who thought Alex did a great about was the better evaluator evaluating Tony, please raise your hand. Thank you. And those who thought Jesse was a better evaluator evaluating Clea. Please raise your hand. All right, thank you. All right, in the interest of time, we'll run through these as fast as possible. I'd like to get the grammarian report and the word picture of the day.
Word picture of the day. I do have a recipient. Today's word picture of the day goes to Muhammad, because right at the beginning of the meeting, Muhammad made a word picture. He said something about 494 flowing as the Nile or like the Nile. I picked that up, so I want to give this to you.
Thank you. Next, we'll get the timers report. And if you can just keep it to the highlights rather than each one.
The highlights. Overall, table topics went very well. Most people stayed within the designated time. Leah and Jesse did go a little bit under. I will say that it was hard to know when to start or stop the timer, or rather when to start the timer when someone kept interjecting a lot at the beginning. So something to keep in mind as I was talking. For the speakers, we have Tony had gone over, Leah was within her time, and the evaluators, Alex was within his time, Jesse was a bit under.
Okay, thank you. Next, I'd like to call on our table topics master to give the wise old owl prestigious award.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. I think we had a lot of great responses. We had a lot of great non-responses. Now, the person who convinced me the most, strangely enough, I don't know if this was a tactic or if it was just the softball nature of the particular subject of the question, but I was, through speaking what only sounded objectively, I was thoroughly convinced never to see a Woody Allen movie because this is so disgusting and horrible and awful. So I'm going to give this to Clea.
Right. And now I will do the Best Visual Effects Award. I don't think that was called for it this time around. Best Evaluator, because evaluation is key. The best evaluator today was
Thank you. It's not here.
Wow. I thought about the whole naked podium syndrome and stuff. And the best speaker award. Oh yeah. Thank you. Great, and I'll do my quick general evaluation of the meeting and bring us back to time. Today was a great meeting. It started out a little late, but first I'd like to thank my kids who woke up and got dressed and fed themselves and everything because my wife's out of town. So that was awesome. But the meeting started a little late. We were waiting for attendance, and as attendance came out to be beautiful. Thank you all for showing up. It's always a great time to have more people. The more we have, the better the meeting is. See, speakers, the webcast is going on. I looked at that. That was kind of interesting. I liked it. Speakers, very interesting topics. I enjoyed both of them. I think both of you did a great job. I'd especially like to say kudos to Clea for stepping out for an impromptu speech. Did not sound very impromptu. It must be something that was near and dear to your heart, so it was very well done. Thank you for that. Evaluation forms, as Alex reminded us in the 1-minute Toastmaster, and he used it for this evaluation. They're always available. They're back there, and use them as we can. Great meeting, great enthusiasm. And with that, I'll just turn it back over to the Toastmaster.
Thank you, Mohammed. And I want to echo the good job. I sent out information as a pre-meeting kind of notification. Almost everyone responded back real quick with exactly the answer to the questions that I threw into there. I really appreciate that we're getting a few more people showing up for the meetings. And I think that's a tribute to our current president. Let's give Vince. It's great to see a little bit the enthusiasm and just the growth in the group, and it's great to have people show up. Remember that if you're on the schedule and you can't make it, it's your job, your responsibility to find a substitute for yourself, not just to not show up. And I'm probably guilty of that as much as anyone else. But if you're unable to make the meeting, let us know ahead of time, find a substitute, and let's keep things going. So with that, I'd like to welcome back our president to take us out and give us what do we need to know about the next time that we're coming back up here.
Great job, Mike. There's one thing I wanted to add is there's a fuzzy mouse award, and I know that a lot of times we think of it as explain to me how to do, some kind of assembly language. Yeah, website, something really, really nitty gritty. And what I don't think we often realize is sometimes it doesn't have to be the X's and O's of things. It can be technical without being quite so nitty gritty and low level. And with that in mind, I'd really like to give the fuzzy mouse award to Tony today. A lot of times Tony gives the much more higher level things. So I think that a lot of developers think it kind of goes over our heads. I don't think people think about it like that much. So yeah, Tony gives a lot of higher architectural things because he's a little bit better than us. So we have to think about that and keep that in mind. And he actually does a really good job getting great technical topics. All right. So let's see, anything else I need to add here? So the Toastmaster closing comments. Well, one thing that seems to be the case is Mike seems to not like my presentation. He shut it off. He's ignoring it. So if there's anything you'd like to add or to never ever use it again, please let me know. Otherwise, I think it's nice to have it sitting there. And I think it's gonna keep us on time. It really seemed like it got us back on track toward the end. It was like, boy, we're really getting up there because we were like 5 minutes behind and 4 minutes and 3 and 2, and we were right on schedule. And now I don't feel rushed at all whatsoever to give the closing thoughts. All right. So, is there anything anybody wants to address? Any new business? John?
I had a question about the 2 light systems in the back there hiding up on the shelf that I'm told neither of which work currently. Is there any plans to maybe fix them or replace them?
Plans? No. Is that a great idea? Yes. Now, 2 light systems. I know.
Yeah, where are 2?
Oh, interesting. Well, maybe we should address them.
I think that would be a great idea.
Yes.
The other point of business that I was wanting to bring up, I just found out that there's a meetup group that has never been once mentioned, and as of last night, I didn't see any link to it from the TechMasters site.
Really?
Only Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn.
Huh.
I was wondering, is that supposed to be used for gathering attendance, expected attendance for each meeting? Because if so, I just found out about it.
Yeah.
I want to promote that one.
Yes. So very, very good point. So one thing that I've been trying to get going is one of the many things that I'm trying to do is get our social media thing a little more up to snuff. And I've been kind of touching up some of the different various items of our social media quite a bit here and there. And the meetup, I rebranded it recently and made it look a little better. And I made a featured meeting for Speechcraft and all that. And I was just kind of thinking the same thing about for example, these are just ideas. And these are kind of nitty gritty things that probably wouldn't be actionable items. There'd be things that we discuss amongst the leadership team. So for example, maybe the VP of Education, instead of sending an email, maybe a good idea would be to send out the meeting schedule, whatever, through Meetup. You send it to, you just send in the same kind of thing you would normally, only it would be through Meetup. You send it to 150 people, and then people would get these emails sent to them, that kind of thing. So yes, it's definitely a very valid point. It's something that we've been trying to address and get a lot better. And yeah, if we don't have the link to Meetup on the site, we'll get that done. Thank you very much for pointing that out. Is there any kind of an actionable motion that you'd like to put forth as far as the light?
Either to fund a new light system or have someone who's a good tinkerer maybe fix the current light systems.
Mm-hmm. Is there a second of any kind? I don't know if we can call that a motion.
I don't know if you can do business at this point in the meeting, but this might be a movable motion at the end.
Yes, so it will be all business next time.
All right.
Discussion.
I will use the powers of the chair to table that matter. We will discuss it
Same with me.
2 weeks from now, probably. All right. So any other announcements of any kind? Other than, no, yes. So again, like I said, I sent an email out this morning to all members about any kind of success story that you may have had, any way that TechMasters has improved your life, anything you've gained from it. Please get back to me so that we could try to incorporate these things. And I will, as quickly as I can, give out a more complete agenda. I gave out a sample beginning rough draft outline to the executive committee last week, and I will try to get a full agenda of what we're going to be talking about and discussing today. So if you have anything to add, anything you want to include in that, please let me know, right? And with that,
Is everyone going to be here next week for the meeting?
really
Anyone has a conflict? Okay.
great, awesome. It's going to be a lot of fun. There's
Are
going to be
you
a lot of
going to be here?
Yep,
Hope
right
so.
here, same time, same back channel.
Hope so.
And there will, we've had, according to the invite, the evite, we would have at least double the attendance, so should be a lot of fun.
How many?
If double the attendance that you see here today, according to the evite, we should have at least double that, so. All right, I would like to ask the timer, Jonathan, with closing thought.
In light of Vince's earlier comment about being glad he did not proceed to the next level in the humorous speech contest, out of every failure and disappointment is the seed of an equivalent or greater benefit.
Thank you, and with that, I will adjourn the meeting.
Stepping up to the.
Very, very good and proper speech.
Very well.